Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing with Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 5, text number 24. Yuvantaha sukho anantaramas tathantar jyotir eva yaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuta digachati. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you all so much for joining. And this particular chapter, which is Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness, is now giving us what you can say a secret formula. For what? Secret formula to permanent happiness and peace. How to become happy and peaceful permanently, not that it's there today and not there tomorrow. So, for that, Krishna is telling Arjuna one has to be happy within. Happiness is within, it is there. It's just that we're looking for it outside, in things and possessions and people, but it is within. And a person is active and rejoices within. You see, in other words, we have to attain perfect yoga, perfect bhakti yoga, perfect mystic yoga. That means one has to come to the stage of liberation. When one is liberated, which means one's senses are under control, mind is under control, one is not looking for happiness outside, but is happy and satisfied within. You see, such a person becomes qualified to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, the big question is, what does it mean to be happy within? That means complete satisfaction. And that complete satisfaction is possible when we don't have a lot of expectations. We are not attached to anything or anybody. We are not entangled in anything or in anybody. And we are not expecting others to behave in a certain way, to speak in a certain way, to act in a certain way. No. When we have those expectations, and it is not possible for others to live their lives the way we want them to. They are individuals, they have their freedom, so they choose what they want to do. We cannot control them. In fact, we cannot even control our own body. So, when there are a lot of expectations from family, friends, relatives, whoever it may be, and when those expectations are not met, then the happiness is gone. We are not happy anymore. So, complete satisfaction is important. Be satisfied with whatever Krishna has provided us. And that will become possible only when we perform bhakti yoga, which means the first step is to understand this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And the first step is I am not this body. Understand the self, understand our relationship with Krishna, and then understand that all living entities are spirit souls, and the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. And so see everyone with equal vision. So when we try to mold our lives in such a way, then we'll come to a stage when there'll be no more hankering. I want this or I want that. No. Because the happiness is within. One is satisfied with whatever Krishna has provided us based on our past karma, whether it is happiness or distress. So, not try to look outside, but look inside, you see, and then one will be able to understand the purpose of human form of life, which is to break the cycle of birth and death. You see, not run after enjoying the senses which you've tried for many lifetimes, but we're still not happy. So now that we have got this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which actually is higher taste, it is telling us, it is giving us knowledge about how we can get the higher taste by giving up the lower taste, reject the lower taste. Many times I give this example where the child is eating mud, which is lower taste. But when we give candy or chocolate to the child, which is higher taste, automatically the child gives up the lower taste. This is called coming to a stage which is called Brahma Bhuta, which is self-realized stage. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Prasannatma is very happy. Na shochati, na kamshati, is not lamenting or hankering after anything. So such a person, you see, can be, in a quiet place, not doing anything and still being happy within. Why? Because that person has reached a stage of spiritual realization, has understood one's own real identity, understood the relationship with the Supreme Lord, and understood that happiness is within. And when a person is happy, then automatically that person becomes very peaceful. There's no need to look for peace outside. Many times we hear people say, I want peace of mind. Leave me alone. Haven't you heard that? Leave me alone. Let me live my life the way I want. I want to be happy. I want peace of mind. Well, here Krishna is talking about that. And now, when he is giving these symptoms, he says, such a person is a perfect mystic, which means that person has attained the stage of bhakti yoga by following the process of bhakti yoga. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us, how to perform bhakti yoga, because bhakti yoga is the topmost rung of the yoga ladder. You see, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga, but bhakti yoga is right on top. That is the topmost rung of yoga ladder. Why? Because according to Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga actually purifies our mind, our senses, our intelligence, our finer brain tissues that help us to understand the Bhagavad Gita. And it helps us also to regulate our senses. Regulation is very important, which is called disciplined life. So, if one uses the intelligence to control the mind, then the mind will control the senses, which are like wild horses running everywhere. So, important point here Krishna is making is that we should try to attain higher taste, which is very, very important and much needed. You see, we need to hear the Bhagavad Gita again and again and again on a regular basis. Excuse me. And simultaneously, we should perform mantra meditation, which can help us to control the senses. Otherwise, it will not be possible. You see, the senses, the urge to control the senses should be so strong, very strong, that yes, I want to do this. Now, in the very next verse, excuse me, Krishna is trying to make Arjuna understand that we need to go beyond dualities. If you remember last week also, we learned about this, how one should come to the stage of equanimity, excuse me, to have an equal vision. If you remember, we read the verse, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavi Hastini. Shuni chaiva swapakecha pandita sama darshinaha. Krishna says a learned sage means a saintly person who is learned also. Such a person, he goes beyond dualities. He has an equal vision towards all living entities, you see. And this verse is talking about going beyond those dualities, right? How? I'm sorry. How? By engaging the mind properly. You see, the mind is the culprit. If we don't control the mind, the senses will not come under control. And it is the duty of the intelligence to control the mind. See? Many people, they are busy in what you can say, working for the welfare of other living entities, like providing food, shelter, etc. That is good. But why not give them knowledge by which they can end the cycle of suffering, by which they can end hunger, thirst, poverty, whatever it may be? Why not break this cycle? That the best welfare activity one can perform is to give this knowledge to others about Krishna consciousness. Sometimes people say, service to mankind is service to God. No. Service to God is service to mankind. Teach others how to love Krishna, how to work for Him, how to connect with Him. And the best way to connect to Krishna is through mantra meditation, chanting the holy names of the Lord. You see, when one starts chanting on a daily basis, then one can understand the Bhagavad Gita and give this knowledge to others. You see, first we need to help ourselves before we can help others, right? So, when we try to understand Bhagavad Gita, at the same time put it into practice, then we get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And we come to a stage of self realization where we become free of all our sinful reactions and come to that liberated stage, right? When we follow this process, well, when we come to chapter number 18, Krishna gives, you can see the summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. And he says, Sarva Dharman Parityagya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vaja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. He says, Sarva Pap. He says, all our sinful reactions, he will clearly wipe out. How? Just by surrendering unto him. That's the only way to be completely, permanently happy and peaceful. Really sorry. Today I have bad cough. That is a stage of self-realization. And at that stage, one will remain happy and peaceful permanently. It's not going to be temporary. So now, after hearing these two verses, one may think, well, liberation seems to be very difficult to attain, and we may become discouraged. But Krishna says, no, if one makes a sincere endeavor, results are guaranteed. This is a guarantee Krishna is giving us. Now, in verse number 26, Krishna is giving knowledge about the symptoms of someone who has already become self-realized. You see, it's important to know whether we are self-realized or not. And for that, we need knowledge. Like, how do we understand who is self-realized? How do we understand if we have reached that stage or not? Right? So he says, a person who has reached that stage of self-realization is free from anger, no more anger, free from material desires. I want this and I want that. No, that person is self-disciplined. All the senses are regulated, you see, and is constantly endeavoring for perfection. It's not that it says, now I'm self-realized. Now I don't need to do anything more. No, is constantly endeavoring for perfection. You see? And such a person is liberated and will ultimately reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unfortunately, most people in this material world are only running after enjoying the senses. How I can enjoy more, and then they get conditioned in that situation. They become conditioned to enjoy their senses day after day after day, only wanting to satisfy the needs of the body. They don't think about how the soul. What about feeding the soul? The soul also needs nourishment, and that is spiritual nourishment. And that spiritual nourishment can make one very strong. And first step of nourishing the soul is chanting the holy names of the Lord, which is called mantra meditation. So, Krishna, he is guiding us to engage our senses in his service that will lead to enlightenment, that will lead to satisfaction, complete satisfaction. And then a person will be happy within and also peaceful within. Now, how is that possible? That is possible when one starts endeavoring seriously, not half-heartedly. Like if I start business and I don't put my heart into it, I'm going to lose all that money. I have to sincerely and seriously endeavor to increase my business. Excuse me. I need to do that. If I don't, then there's going to be no profit at all. So Krishna is saying those who endeavor seriously will reach perfection. And if we are serious about it, He's there within the heart to guide us, to show us the way, to tell us which is the right way and which is the wrong way. But we have to be sincere about it. Sincerely fix our mind on Krishna. Sincerely fix on our goal. My goal is to be happy within. My goal is to be self realized and liberated. Then Krishna is going to bestow his mercy. See, he's giving us the process to achieve liberation while being in this body, not after death, while presently in this body. How? By working in full knowledge of the super soul, which is called Paramatma within the heart. Now, in verse 27 and 28, Krishna explains about Ashtanga Yoga. Many people in this world are interested in Ashtanga Yoga. You see, he explains how there is a process. Of course, in the very next chapter, number 6, which is Dhyana Yoga, he'll give more details about Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. But he also mentions in verse 27 and 28 that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. You see, if one is engaged in devotional service, there is no risk of senses going haywire here and there. It becomes very easy to control the senses through devotional service. Now, the last verse of this chapter, which is the peace formula. Does anyone here want to be peaceful? I guess all of us want to be peaceful. Why? Because we are not peaceful right now. We are not completely happy right now. We're not happy within. We're looking for happiness outside. So, the last verse of this chapter, Krishna is explaining how to be happy and peaceful permanently, not temporary, permanent. Like when, people come to the US, they want permanent residency, right? They don't want temporary visa where after 2, 3 years they have to go back, or after 5 years they have to go back. No, they want permanent residency, which means we can stay in the US permanently. That is the goal. So why not, excuse me, why not try for permanent happiness, permanent peace? So he gives the formula in verse number 29 of chapter 5. What is that? Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarva loka maheshwara suhridam sarva bhutanam gnatva mam shantim richati. Shanti means peace. How to get peace? Krishna says when a person is in full consciousness of me, that means not half hearted or little conscious of Krishna. No. When one is in full consciousness of me, knowing me, which means Krishna, to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, and understands that I am the Supreme Lord of all planets, all demigods. Also understands that I am the benefactor, well wisher of all living entities. These are the conditions. When we achieve these conditions, when we acquire these conditions, then Krishna says the result will be one will attain peace from pangs of material miseries. Krishna has already explained that this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. It is full of miseries and is temporary. Excuse me. So, here is a formula where we can be permanently happy and peaceful. All that one is required to do is to understand and accept the fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's saying, I'm the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods. There's no one above him or no one equal to him. That is why he's called Supreme Lord. Sorry. Supreme means supreme. No one above him. No one equal to him. So, when we become fully conscious of this fact, when we become fully Krishna conscious, when we are fully conscious of the Lord all the time and understand and know that He is the ultimate beneficiary of everything, all the sacrifices, whether we are chanting, we are offering food, we are offering, giving money, whatever it may be, He is the ultimate beneficiary. He is the one who gets all the results of our sacrifices. And all the austerities we perform, they are all meant to satisfy Krishna. And above all, important to understand, He is our benefactor, He is our best friend, He is our well wisher. He's our Supreme Father. What does a father want for the child? The best, right? The father is always wishing well for the child. He's a well wisher of the child. So we are all children of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And he says, I'm the benefactor. I'm your best friend. I'm your well wisher. And he doesn't say, I'm the well wisher of human beings. No, he says of all living entities. That includes everyone, trees, plants, aquatics, animals, birds, insects, all living entities. So when one becomes fully conscious of Krishna, then one can attain permanent peace and happiness. This is the peace formula Krishna has given in chapter 5. He ends the chapter with this beautiful verse, giving us the knowledge how we can become happy and peaceful. Now, if Krishna knew that we are already happy and peaceful, he would not give us this formula. He would not even give us Bhagavad Gita, but he knows that we are in a place which is Dukhalayam, which is a place of material miseries. So he's giving us a solution. You see, when we are diseased, we go to the doctor and we expect the doctor to give us a solution, to cure us, to remove our disease so that we can be healthy again. So right now, we are spiritually unhealthy. We are diseased in this material world. We lack self-realization. We lack spirituality. We lack permanent peace and happiness. And that is why Krishna is giving us this simple process to attain permanent peace. Now, one may say, well, theoretically, I understand. Okay, I accept Krishna. I accept I'm fully conscious of him. I accept that he's the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. And I accept he's a supreme lord of all planets and demigods. And I accept he's my well wisher. Do you think I will be happy permanently, peaceful, happy permanently? No, that is theoretical knowledge. That is just theoretically understanding, okay, I accept it. But what about putting it into practice? You see, it's a simple process. The scriptures, they clearly explain to us, it's not blind faith. They give references and explain to us why Krishna is considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have so many references that explain that, yes, he is the Supreme. Now, one may say, how come he is sitting in his own abode? And how can he be, my benefactor or well wisher? Well, he is. How? Because he's situated in our hearts as a super soul called Paramatma. If he did not care for us, if he did not want to help us to go back to the spiritual world, he wouldn't be situated in our hearts. He would not be guiding us from within as a super soul. And he is so merciful that he's traveling with us in every body. Any body that we take, whether it is human body, aquatic body, animal body, bird body, it doesn't matter which body we are taking. He is coming with us from one body to another. Isn't that being a well wisher and benefactor? Right? He could have said, well, I've tried so many lifetimes to guide you. You're not really interested. Forget it. I'm not coming with you anymore. Right? No, he doesn't do that. He travels with us from one body to another, from one species to another. So compassionate. He's guiding us. He is fulfilling our desires. He's sanctioning our desires. You see? So he being the controller and the proprietor, he is doing everything necessary to help us go back to the spiritual world. But unfortunately, most people, they don't want to accept that because they don't want to give up that position of being the controller. I'm the controller. I am the proprietor of everything that I have, everything that I own. I own my spouse, my children, my house, my job, my possessions. That mentality is still there. So, how can there be peace and happiness when we consider ourselves to be the controllers and proprietors? Nothing belongs to us. We came empty handed and we are going to leave empty handed. Nothing belongs to us. Everything is belonging to Krishna. We're just using it for the time being. You see? Saying Bhokta Ram Yagna Tapasam. Bhokta means enjoyer. He is the ultimate enjoyer. You see, he is the final enjoyer of all our sacrifices. He is Sarva Loka Maheshwara. He is Sarva means all. Loka means planets. Maha Ishvara Maheshwara. He is the Lord of all lords, all the demigods. You see, he is the goal of everything that we do. Even the those who perform austerities, like they go to the Himalayas, to sit there and meditate, all those yogis, the ultimate goal should be Krishna. They should perform all those austerities to satisfy Krishna. He's Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He is also guiding the yogis who are meditating on him as a super soul. He's the best friend who's coming in each body with us in all different lifetimes. He's a well wishing friend. If he wasn't our best friend, He wouldn't have given us Bhagavad Gita. He wouldn't have given us, the knowledge by which we can break the cycle of birth and death. You see? So Bhagavad Gita is actually his mercy. You see? And he's also sending so many pure devotees in this material world to explain the Bhagavad Gita to us, to guide us, to show us how to perform devotional service. So, the summary of all these verses that we did today, excuse me, is to understand Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He's our well wisher. He's our best friend. He's the goal of our austerities and sacrifices. Understand He is the Supreme Lord. When we understand all these things, then we will automatically become peaceful. Now, understanding doesn't mean just hearing or reading Bhagavad Gita. No, that is just knowledge. When knowledge is put into practice, then that leads to wisdom. Then a person becomes wise. Then a person will understand the difference between, what is material and what is spiritual. You see, just knowledge or renunciation cannot help one to control the senses or achieve liberation. That's not possible. We need to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, who is our dearmost friend. And how do we take shelter of him? By mantra meditation. Then that meditation, that mantra meditation, chanting the holy names of the Lord regularly is going to help us understand Krishna's position, our position, that we are his servants, and understand the very last verse of this chapter, which is the peace formula, how to get peace in this material world. See, the last verse, Krishna is actually giving us a guarantee. Whenever we go to buy something, don't we ask for guarantee, right? If supposing we want to get something fixed in the house, like electrical or heating or air conditioning, we always ask, what's the guarantee, right? What is the warranty? We want to know for how many years is this particular, thing that you have installed is going to, work. We want guarantee. And Krishna is giving us guarantee in the last verse of this chapter, where he's saying, I'm giving you guarantee that you will become happy and peaceful. See, everyone in this material world is anxious to get peace of mind because they don't have it. And most don't even know where to find it. You see, they don't know. And here we have it in the Bhagavad Gita, the formula is given. But it is possible to realize it through mantra meditation. Why? Because this Maha Mantra that we chant after each class is so powerful. It has been bestowed with mercy of Krishna. These powerful sound vibrations, they can help us to become self-realized and go back to the spiritual world. You see, it'll help us to understand Krishna's position, not just theoretically, but practically. It will help us to understand who we really are. And only through mantra meditation, which is the first step, that we will be able to progress further on the spiritual path and come to that stage where we are happy from within. We are not looking for happiness outside. That stage will be possible when we chant on a regular basis. So, let us chant, excuse me, let us chant for a few minutes the Maha Mantra. And please, I would highly recommend that you chant with me now and also on a daily basis as much as possible. It takes about, I would say, 7-8 minutes to chant the whole round, which is 108 beads, to just chant it, one mantra on each bead. So please chant with me. We'll just chant 10 times. And when you have time, you can chant all the 108 beads. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. So you see, it's not difficult at all. So it's my very humble request that please chant every day if you're not. And if you're chanting, please chant more and more rounds so that we can become self realized. So I'm going to end now. If anyone has any questions or comments, you are welcome to ask.